It's your girl Lisa B, and I am back. Hi. I just had a baby about a month and a half ago, so I'm really excited to be back and to just check in with you guys. Just to kind of recap, I started a YouTube page, and immediately after I found out that I was pregnant, and so I was not able to really record like I would have liked to. So here I am. Yes. And I'm very happy to be back. I'm very excited about my baby. And so today I just kind of wanted to share with you a little bit about my journey to motherhood and the whole process. And yes, it was a process, but I'm very excited to have my beautiful baby girl. She's so awesome, y'all. She's so attentive and smart. Oh my gosh, these kids are so intelligent. Okay, so let's talk about the induction. So I ended up going into a hospital that was a little bit further out. It was recommended by my OB, who said most of her patients have had their children at this hospital. And so we went in on Wednesday evening and we began the whole induction process, and whew, it was a process, you guys. They inserted the IV and that was so painful. But maybe it's just me. Maybe it was just my veins and everything. But oh my gosh, I don't do well with hospitals anyway. So, you know, it depends on your pain tolerance. Everyone cannot tolerate certain things. So anyway, we began the process, and I began having contractions, like small contractions. Well, I already was having contractions, but they began to intensify that evening as they started me on Pitocin, I believe. And then Thursday came, and then they inserted the Foley catheter, which is the balloon. They inserted that, and whew, that's all I got to say about that. And so yeah. What I do like about that hospital is that they had a midwife that was given with the additional staff of the nurses and the obstetrician. And so she was very helpful in kind of explaining some of the different things regarding the process of birth and just kind of being there to be that support. And also I had my family. They were there with me. Yes, y'all, we brought the whole crew out, and so I was really excited about that because you need support, you know, as you're going through this process. After I had the Foley inserted inside me, or after they put in the Foley, they let that stay in overnight, and then the contractions intensified, and by the next afternoon I had dilated to 4 centimeters. And then to kind of help me cope with the contractions, they put me on some kind of ventilator or some, oh, it was gas. I just don't remember the name of it. But whatever it was, it didn't work. And they were trying everything with me. I ended up having a morphine shot. I got fentanyl. They gave me the work. On Friday, so Friday is when I had, I began to have contractions around 12:30, and then we thought the baby was going to come, but she did not come, and they were saying that she was too high up. By that evening, the doctor had ended up accidentally breaking my water, and they had turned up the Pitocin, and it ended up being too much for the baby to handle. And so that evening we had discussed us possibly having a C-section, which I did not want to have, and I really did my best to try to advocate to not have that. However, the situation didn't work out as such, and I kind of had an idea that that would end up, or something similar would end up happening like that. And so we just kind of wanted to wait it out. We ended up kind of waiting it out, and sure enough, on Saturday morning, I woke up to the sound of my baby's oxygen levels dropping, and I looked at the machine, and then about a minute later, one of the nurses ran in, and she read the machine as well, and then she called a code, and then all of a sudden a ton of nurses came and flooded my room. And one of the nurses said to me, a lot of things are getting ready to happen, or a lot of people are going to be in this room really quickly. And then it just seemed like it happened like that, and they rolled me onto a gurney and rolled me down to the area where they perform the C-sections. I had already had my epidural in, and so the anesthesiologist, or I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, postpartum brain, y'all, it's a real thing. Just like they say pregnant brain is real, postpartum is real too. So the gentleman, he administered some more medicine to me, and then I didn't even feel anything. I just was kind of out of it. I do remember them strapping me, but I didn't resist it. I just said, well, this has to happen. So I went along with it. And I did feel a little pressure. So they took the baby out. We did not hear her cry. They took her to a separate area. But my husband said, babe, we have a beautiful baby girl. And so I was just glad to have her out, and immediately they stitched me back up, rolled me into recovery, and then I began the recovery process from there. So after baby was born, we discovered that her oxygen levels were really low, and so they had rolled her or taken her to wherever their baby section was, and they had wheeled me to recovery. So I was in there, and it wasn't until that evening, which was 12 hours later, that I got to see my baby. And when she did, she had all of this stuff going on with her, and these tubes and things. And then we found out that they did not have a neonatal intensive care unit for children, and so we were going to end up having to get transferred to another hospital. And so we ended up getting transferred via ambulance, and y'all, when we got there, they had inserted even more tubes inside of her. There were so many complications, you guys. My baby had meconium, she had low oxygen levels, she had jaundice, a ton of stuff going on. It was just really crazy. That night, I cried all night, because as a mother, you don't want to see your child go through those type of things. And when I saw her fists were balled up, so I could tell she had been fighting, and I just broke my heart. But I just prayed, I cried, prayed and cried some more, until my husband said, babe, you gotta get some sleep, because he stayed in the room with me. And so, I went to bed, and we ended up being in the hospital. Well, I ended up being in the hospital. That was Saturday. I ended up being in the hospital until the next Wednesday. And then I got discharged. Usually, if you have a vaginal birth, they'll permit you to stay 2 to 3 nights. If you have a C-section, they'll permit you to stay 3 to 4 nights. And so my stay, had come to an end. So I ended up discharging on Wednesday. First time moms, do not expect this to be a vacation. It is not a vacation. You will not get any sleep in the hospital. There are tons of people coming in your room. The nurses are coming in to administer medication. Other nurses are coming in to maybe take your to draw blood, or doctors coming in. My baby's doctors were coming in, obstetricians were coming in, social workers were coming in, like all kind of people were coming in every hour. And oh, that was so frustrating. But I do appreciate them taking awesome care of me. Patient care is really important to me, and they definitely executed that very well. So I'm grateful for that. They made sure I took my medication and I didn't go crazy. Me and my husband, we opted not to have too many visitors come in, and so I was able to kind of, be there for my daughter mentally, and just, kind of gather my thoughts and do what I need to do as a mom, because I went through a lot for me to labor that amount of hours, and then for us to have to be transported, and all these different complications and all these different adjustments happening at one time. It can, feel overwhelming. Wednesday I got discharged, and that was very painful because I got discharged without my baby, and so it was very emotional for me. I was crying in the lobby, and then I cried when we pulled out the hospital, and I cried some more at home, y'all. And these weren't cute cries, these were like boo-hoo cries. And so it was a process, and then it's hard because the doctors are telling you need to pump, and the hormones were just not there because of all the trauma that I had experienced, and just my baby, me not being able to be close to my baby. So my milk supply had been decreasing. As of today, I am no longer pumping, and my OB told me that is okay, and so I have learned to be okay with that, because as a mom, you have this sort of mom guilt, because you want to be the best parent that you can be for your child, and so if you can pump or do whatever you can, go ahead, go for it, do you, girl. But I just was not able to do that, unfortunately. But my baby, she is a eater, so immediately I did not feel the feeling of it was worth it when I saw my baby. There was so many different things that I was experiencing, so many different emotions. I think now I'm just now starting to feel like, it's worth it, and I'm really enjoying my daughter and just seeing her grow and smile, and she's cooing, and she's really smart. She's just doing so much. Would I do it again? I don't know. We'll see, maybe in a couple of years. Okay, so after I discharged, which was on a Wednesday, Friday I had begun experiencing shortness of breath. My feet had swollen, my legs had swollen, and my feet had swollen very, very bad. So I just thought it was a part of the whole process or whatever, as I was told. Shortness of breath as well. However, I just thought it was a little strange. So I kept telling my husband, babe, I feel like I can't breathe. Like every time I would lay down, I would feel like I wasn't getting enough air. And so, I went ahead and called the advice nurse, because Sunday night came around. I tried to go to sleep and I could not go to sleep. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I mean, I'm talking about I could not walk from one end of the hallway to another. I barely could carry my crossbody bag, which is a small bag, a handbag. And so, you know, we decided to go ahead and go into the hospital. All I had with me was my wallet and my cell phone. We went to the hospital. I told them my symptoms, and they said, we're gonna admit you tonight. And immediately they took me to the back. They did an EKG, and they began running tests on me. They did x-rays. They gave me oxygen. They put me on an oxygen tank or whatever. They ended up, they said what I had was severe preeclampsia, and what looked like maybe a touch of pneumonia. I had a ton of fluid around my heart, and I have a heart murmur, so that's a big, problem right there. And I had fluid all in and around my lungs. So the doctors were like, we are so glad that you came in, because you may not have been as fortunate. They said I could have had seizures, I could have died, all kinds of sorts of things could have come of the situation if I had not come in. And so I'm glad I listened and came in, because normally like I said, I do not like hospitals. I just don't. So I probably would have drank some water and went to bed, y'all. But anyway, they gave me Lasix, and that caused me to go to the bathroom. Oh my gosh, I never knew I could go to the bathroom so much. So yeah, all night long, and then they were monitoring my urine, and so I was able to be admitted back into the hospital where my child was. They put me on they took me back to the mother baby area, and so that night I didn't get to see the baby, but I think I did the next day. I ended up having like 2 IVs, and they were giving me all kind of medication. I think they also gave me like magnesium overnight. I was supposed to have it for 24 hours, but it ended up being that I didn't need it the whole time, and so they took me off of that. I ended up having to get 2 blood clot shots, which were supposed to be inserted in my stomach, and I said no. So they put it in my arm. I couldn't do it, y'all. It's scary. But anyway, I'm still sore from those shots, and that was a whole month and a half ago. So baby began her recovery, and she began putting on weight in the hospital, up to the point where the doctor came in my room. He said, look, your baby is behaving like a normal baby. It's time to take your baby home. And praise God, we were able to discharge together. Yay! Like we wanted to. And so they wheeled me out of the hospital. I got to carry my baby. We were walking down the halls, people were saying congratulations, and that was just a wonderful feeling, because that is what we wanted all along. That's just what you want. We brought baby home, and she got home. She slept really good for a few hours, and oh my gosh, that's when it all started. We did not get any sleep. It is so, we don't get no sleep, y'all. Like, we don't get no sleep. If you are able to get sleep, get sleep. I thought I wasn't getting any sleep when I was pregnant, because I was sleeping a lot, but I was still waking up throughout the night, cooking meals and stuff to feed the baby, because I would feel like I'm starving. So when I tell you, this baby has been wearing us out, You know, my husband, he'll take her and then he'll just come in the room and then he'll just, you know, go tag. And she is so intelligent. I love her. She's so smart. I just love how she looks up at me, and you know, her big old eyes, and she's sleeping really well. She's eating really well. And so it's just awesome to see how far she's come, you know, from where she started. So I'm excited to see, you know, what's going to happen in the next few months. We are able to, you know, go out now, as it has been 6 weeks. However, with all the COVID-19 things that are going on and taking place right now, we are, you know, deciding to stay in for a little bit longer, just until everything, you know, kind of clear up. I do not want to jeopardize my baby's health or my health. We do not want to end up back in the hospital. So my advice for first time mom, as I am a first time mom, number one, it is really, really important for you to have a birth plan. You know, take some time with your spouse. If you have one, take some time with your spouse and jot down some notes about what you want. You can even go online. There are tons of different websites. Go on Google and just Google, you know, birth plans. It will give you a general idea. Sometimes the hospital, they should give you like something with a questionnaire or something with a birth plan of, you know, asking you what you want. But also, they're a little ambiguous, and so if you kind of want a birth plan with more details, go online, download a template, and you know, complete that birth plan. You know, go in there knowing what you want. Now, don't be glued to the birth plan, because as you can see, you know, we wanted to have a vaginal birth. However, that didn't happen, and sometimes it's that way. And so, you know, and it's okay. That's how life happens. Sometimes things happen that we don't want to happen, but it is good to have, it has things on there, questions that ask you if you want to get the vitamin K shot, you know, how many people you want in the room with you when you have your baby, you know, what you want the environment to be like, tons of things. Go online and download a template. Like I said, advocate for yourselves. Also, you know, I talked about earlier mom guilt. Moms, give yourself grace. You know, you may not know everything. Like, most things will be, you know, instinct, because you carried the baby for 9 months. So the baby knows you. You know the baby. No one knows your child more than you do. Okay? So, you know, trust yourself, and give yourself grace. If you feel like you made a mistake, you know, don't beat yourself up. Don't be hard on yourself. You know, just kind of forgive yourself and move on. That's all you can do. You know, you have this beautiful little creature who looks up to you and is depending on you. Also, if you are able, like if you had a C-section like me, sit down, get rest. Don't be getting up lifting. Sat down. Don't lift anything heavier than your baby. It's really important with keeping your organs where they need to be, okay? And it's really important for the healing process. Ultimately, if you know, don't sit down and you're doing a lot of lifting and doing too much, it'll, you know, show up a little later, and you know, it won't be well. So make sure you get plenty of rest. And then last but not least, enjoy your beautiful baby. Enjoy your beautiful bundle of joy. I could not admonish you to do that enough. The time goes by fast. You know, I was just looking at my baby the other day while I was changing her, and I saw just how much she had been growing. I'm like, oh, she's really long. Or, you know, I noticed that she's getting heavier and heavier by the day. Sometimes I just have to put her down because it's still, you know, I'm still healing as well. And so it, you know, or she might kick me in my incision site because she's a little feisty, y'all. This girl got a mean right hook. But yeah, so anyway, you know, make sure you take advantage of this time and enjoy your beautiful baby. Woo! It is an exciting time, and just, you know, you may be a little on edge with people getting too close to your baby, but ultimately it'll all work out and you will be a great mom. I hope that you got something out of this video. Thank you for stopping by and just even taking the time to watch. Hope to see you again soon. Take care.